Okay, so we've got our security system in place. We've seeded some roles, a couple roles, and a few users so we can use for testing, right? So let's actually go through a discussion of what kind of authorization requirements we might want to put into place. So here I've got a little PDF file, right, that I can follow along with and figure out. Now, I've basically got the same information presented here in two different ways, okay? Uh, it's just kind of describing who can do what. But I often find that this is a nice way to clarify things, is talk about the main actions you normally see in each controller, right? And what the different types of users and what they can and cannot do. Okay? So basically, I'm going to say that anyone can access the home controller. We already took care of that because we put allow anonymous on it. So even someone who hasn't logged in can come and access the home controller and all of its actions. Done. Check. Okay? So a user who is logged in but not in any role, right? Well, they need to be able to see the list of patients and the list of doctors. In other words, those index actions for both should be available to anybody who's logged in. All right. Well, we're good there at this point in time, but let's just kind of talk about it all, and then we're going to go into Visual Studio and see how we get all this in place. A supervisor, on the other hand, can also, right, view all the details, create and edit for patients, but cannot delete them. Okay? Can't delete patients, but can basically do everything else related to a patient. They can create, edit, and delete appointments for patients. Okay? They can view the list of doctors and doctor details, plus download any doctor documents, but they cannot create, edit, or delete doctors. Right? Oh, okay. This kind of brings up the point that, as I said, I listed down here the common actions, but sometimes we do have public actions available in a controller that outside of things like details, create, edit, and delete, right? So our download was one that we had in the doctor's controller. Fully maintain lookup values, right? So all the lookups, they'd be able to maintain them all and away they go. Now, an admin user can do everything, right? So, whether you like to follow it that way or look at a chart like this, it's entirely up to you. I'll usually try to give the instructions both ways, right? So this kind of shows you for each role, okay, for each entity, okay, or controller, if you want to think of it that way, right? Normal actions. Now I threw in the extra download here, available under details, right, as well, right? So you can see here the user can get the index action on patient and the index action on doctor, but nothing else. None of the other entities is there anything checked off, right? So maybe we'll start with that, okay? So let me just minimize this for now, coming back to Visual Studio. So basically, if I come to my controllers, right? So for the doctor controller and the patient controller, maybe I'll actually work right through patient, right? See, I'm so used to putting the authorized attribute up there. It kind of seems weird to me not to have to do it, to have that fallback policy in place. But it's okay. It just means that you have to be authenticated to come here. So do we put anything on index? No, no, we don't, right? Anyone who's authorized can come here and see the index. And that matches all of our users' requirements, right? Now, just to save so much scrolling up and down because of all the code we have here, I'm going to use that keyboard shortcut, holding Control down, MO, and that just kind of shrinks me down to the actions themselves. Okay, so, thinking about that, let me just actually get it up so I can see it on my other screen here for quick reference. Somewhere, I thought I had it open, but I guess I don't. The actual PDF file that I was talking about there. So I'm just going into my yeah. Okay, there we are. Yeah, same one. That's just what I have on my screen as well. All right, so just looking at this then, so thinking about within the patient controller, what do I have here? So the user can come to the index, check, okay? Now to go to details, create, edit, okay, then they actually have to be a supervisor, right? And the admin is all the same except for delete. So really, for details, I, I need my authorize attribute. Roles equals admin, or supervisor. Okay, now if I was still running, I probably should have left it running. I could, if I was just logged in as a user, clicking the details link should not allow me to go on. Let me actually do that. Let me get it up and running. Okay, so I'll log in again just as user. I can come to patients. I can see the index. If I try to go to details, there we go. Now I get access denied. Okay, good. Now, right now, that's the only one that's protected. Edit, delete, create, those are all still available. So we'll get to those next. Okay, so I'm going to just take this because they're all the same except for delete. I can reuse the same one. Just remember, key point, it should always match. Whatever you decorate the get for one of the actions, database actions, like create, make sure you do the exact same one on the post. For create, same thing. Edit is identical, right? So putting the same annotation on both. Now delete, this one will be different because supervisor cannot delete. So we actually have to restrict it just to those in the administrator role, the admin role, right? But I put the same one on both here. Okay. All right. And you see everything else is private. I don't have to worry about them at all. So that's good. I'll just maybe save that. We'll do a hot reload. Coming back to the browser, right? So now, if I click edit, access denied, delete, the same, and same for create, right? Okay, now if I log out and log back in as supervisor, coming to patient, I can definitely come to create. I can come to edit details, of course. It's only when I hit delete am I denied access. Okay, good. All right. No, well, I might as well finish the demo. Okay, so I will log out and log back in once more, this time as admin, coming to patients, and I'm allowed to come to the delete. Okay, so the first thing you might think at this point is, well, gosh, should we hide these links so you're not tempted to do things you shouldn't be able to do? Ultimately, eventually, yes, we will, but don't do it right now because when you hand in work, I need to be able to click the link so that I can test to make sure you actually have the proper annotations in the controllers, right? And even you, while you're testing, you need to be able. I mean, we know as well that hiding a link is actually no protection whatsoever. Okay, like if I was a clever user, if I was allowed to come to details, I could see details slash 137, right? Okay, so I could, even if I wasn't allowed to click delete, I could try going, well, let me log in as supervisor again, just so it actually works the way I'm talking about it, right? I can come to details on that user, but if I wanted to, I could try to circumvent the system, delete slash 137. I know their ID from the URL, and thankfully the controller says, just because you didn't have a link for it and you tried to type it in, okay, it still is actually giving me the proper protection and access is denied. Okay. All right. So really this is going to be kind of repetitive as I go through and get the rest in place, but bear with me. It might be somewhat educational. Okay. So maybe I'll do the doctor next, right? So we're done with the patient's controller. I'm happy with all that, right? I'll maybe just copy this because I'm going to be using it again soon. So come to the doctor's controller. It's a little different. Anonymous user can come here. I don't have any other extra, sorry, not, yeah, logged in user can come here. Nobody anonymous can come because of the fallback policy, right? By the way, it doesn't hurt. I can just put authorize up here as well. And that won't actually cause a problem, okay? So it's up to you if you want to put it there or not. I don't have to because of the fallback policy. Anyway, coming to index, that's fine. That's open to any logged in user. Now, a supervisor can come to details as well, right? So again, I'll go Control MO. Coming down to details, supervisor can come here, right? And the supervisor can also do the download. So where is the download? way down here, okay, it stands out because it's public, right? Oh, that's delete. Download right here. Yeah, it stands out because it's public, right? So I'll just annotate it as well, that only admin and supervisor can download. And that's consistent with how we're displaying the information as well. Okay, now everything else in the controller, right, I need to actually decorate with just the admin. Okay, so both creates is just admin, both edit, get, and post is admin only, and same with delete. Okay, so it's pretty much the admin's job to look after doctors, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so that's good for that one. All right, so 2 down. I guess I don't need these open anymore either, so I'll close them up. Okay, coming to, well, let's do the lookup, right? All the lookups are the same, okay? For all the lookup values, including, of course, the lookup controller itself, and I also threw in the report controller, basically supervisor and admin can do everything. Nobody else can do anything, right? So it's going to be pretty straightforward. I should have kept one of those open just so I could copy paste, because you know how much I like to copy paste. I'm just going to grab that. So I'm going to come to the appointment. Oh, no, actually this one will be the same, but anyway, appointment reason, condition, the lookup controller itself, medical trials, report controller, specialty controller, all of those ones will get the exact same authorization. And is that it? Yes, it is. I don't have to worry about putting it on every action because everything inside the controller has the same 2 roles that are allowed, right? So I just have to basically come to each and every one of these, put that same line of code in at the same spot, right at the very top, restricting all actions in all of these controllers to the exact same 2 roles. Okay. All right. Now, appointment by coincidence actually matches the same. Oop, you notice? So yeah, it is true that with the appointment controller, I can put the exact same annotation at the top. So by the time we're done all this, you can see that having that fallback policy hardly saved anything in terms of adding annotations, but you know, it's mentioned in the online tutorial, so it doesn't hurt to have it here. It does mean that if you add a new controller later on down the road, you might forget possibly to actually add the proper annotation, in which case that would definitely be an issue and cause a problem. All right, final test run. Okay, so not being logged in, I can come to home, but anywhere else I've got to log in. So let's just go again with user. Oh, it's because I was at a point, tried to get to appointment and I was denied. Okay. Anyway, so here I'm at doctors, at patients. I can see these indexes, but everything else is off limit to me, even within these controllers, right? I can't do anything else. If I log out, log back in as super, I can come here, I can go to details, but if I try to go to edit, I'm denied, right? Because even a supervisor can't edit, delete, or create doctors, right? Denied, denied, denied. And of course, the same is true for users as well. Denied everything other than the index. At least I can go to details. Okay, and admin can do everything everywhere, but you know, it's worthwhile. I'm not going to take time to make you watch me double check everything, but you should always check each and every possible action of every one of the controllers to make sure it actually works the way it should. So maybe I'll just double check that. One, remember a supervisor, right, could come into the um, doctors, see details. Oh, I don't have any documents uploaded. I have to be an admin to do that. Oh, here you go. Caught by my own security. So I'll edit a doctor here. I'm just going to upload a file. Right? Log back out, log in as supervisor. If I come to doctors, I can go to details on that doctor, and I should be able to actually download this file, and I can, right? Because I'm allowed, because anything I can see, I should probably be able to download. So that's that. Unless you're specified something different, maybe the user, your client would want them to be able to see the details view, but not download, but you could easily change that, right? Because it is a separate action. Any questions about all that?